start?
Start, yeah.
Okay, good afternoon. Today is the fourth class of the C lab. Today we basically cover up the C basic thing. Today we will cover the call by value and call by reference. So someone has asked what is call by value. It is basically, our C is a procedural programming language. Now we will have this object-oriented programming language. Now we will have functional programming language, like say Python or Prolog. Then the object-oriented programming language you can get it in C++ and Java and Python. But C doesn't have object-oriented programming language. C++ does have that feature. Then the basic thing is procedural programming language. What is procedural? See, if you say what is procedural programming language? Procedural programming is nothing but there should be always one main, and there should be. If you write a program with a 10 line span, that is also a C program. But program means is algorithm. Algorithm means if you have 1000 numbers, you don't have to run the program for all the 1000 numbers. You have to run the program for only 5 or 10. Then your algorithm is good enough. It can cater this 1000 number. So that is the difference between program and algorithm. Algorithm means it's a definite number of steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Algorithm is nothing but a recipe. Recipe, how to cook a food. If you give an algorithm to somebody, somebody can cook a food and program. So it doesn't have to be tested for all types of data, that is remember. But whenever you are doing it, you have to sometimes repeat it call. See, any program, if it's a 10 lines without any function, we generally hesitate to program. What is meant by program? You try to make a small function, you call that function again and again. Now you call that function with some parameters. So that I am giving this number, say here I am giving some number, and that is called the formal parameter. Whenever you see the function definition, there is no star. That means it is always call by value. Call by value means whenever you are passing it, you give a copy. Don't give the actual reference. But whenever you see the star, because you already know the concept of the pointer. Whenever you get in the scanning, it is ampersand. That is the address of, that is means at the address. Two different things. This is means content at the address, content, at address, content, and you are giving you are referencing the actual address. That is a pointer. That is a integer number, because address is always integer number, and another is here also it is a address of. This is the address of and you know this one and this one, it is nullified, like it is a inverse, like it can go to nothing. Okay, together means same. Okay, so reverse is also star, and this one like our inverse identity matrix. So whenever you are seeing the star, that means you are giving the address and address at that variable at that particular location. Danger is whatever is inside the function, whatever happens, that happens there. Okay, so that portion can be changed, and risk is that is not maybe the intention of the programmer, or there may be hackers. So call by reference, these modern languages, it is not there. In Java, Python, there is always call by value. Call by reference is not there, but call by reference is always a faster. It's a quicker operation. Okay, but you should know both, because C and C++ still preferred because of its call by reference. There is always a concept. Somebody asked the question, what is the use of pointer? The pointer means it is at that actually give the reference. But modern day language like Python and Java, that is running on virtual machine. Advantage of virtual machine is, one advantage is that you cannot hack into the machine. The main machine, at least that particular virtual machine may be shut down. Very difficult, because they are basically like a sandbox, and that will not be. You cannot hang the main machine. That particular process, that virtual machine process may stop, but your main machine can be always on. That is one. But what is the cons of it? What is the disadvantage of it? The virtual machine is always slower. Okay, it's always 10 times slower, can be. But but nowadays processor is so fast, other things are so fast, so it does not matter. And also the virtual machine, even the Python, they are written in object-oriented code and other things, but generally libraries are all implemented by C++. So most of the time C++ is working in background. Okay, so that is the concept of the pointer. Pointer means always a absolute address in your memory. It is not a this absolute address is very harmful. It can your whole machine may be stuck and all these things. That absolutely not possible. You can see your mobile phone and all these things doesn't generally hang. If you process too many opens, then it may be slower. It doesn't hang. It doesn't crash. If the 5-6 years back the Windows crashed, because right now they're all going for virtual machine. Advantage is you can remote desktop, you can have remote everything because of the virtual machine. So, but still, call by reference has lot of questions will be come, and so you should be always aware whenever you see this kind of stuff. That means you are actually passing the value, that will be faster. But for 2-line or 3-line program you cannot do it. But if you have a long program, data is a huge program. Say is an image like a video. Now this data may be 1 megabyte, 2 megabyte. Then the call by reference will be definitely faster. But you have to use it caution. So what is the pros and cons of call by value and call by reference? Most modern languages, C does have the facility, all by call by value, like Java, Python, or call by value. So it is only copy is given, creation of new space, so it will take up the space. Earlier the memory at that time when Dennis Ritchie and this, they have developed C at which year? 1961, and at that time the memory is 8K, so they always try to conserve the memory. So, but here, and another thing, I'll come to the data type. Like right now, the Python, all the variables are non-mutable type. Anything non-mutable, but it cannot change. But C, it can be changed. I'll come to this. What is the data type? So, call by reference is this. Call by value more safe, but it is slow. That's it. And there are another thing is static. That is a keyword. Is static. You will experience the static keyword not only C, C++, Java, Python. Meaning will be changed to some different language, little bit different. But one thing I must tell, what is difference between static and static global? Static global means it will always initialize to 0. But only global, it need not to be initialized with 0. The static global is fixed. Another thing is static global for that particular global variable will be available into this file only, not to the outside file. I'll come. That is static global. Okay, thank you. Please, everybody do not type it. Just listen it. Many questions cannot be you can ask the question.
Sir, what is the use of static? What is the use of
static? Yes. This is some programmatic, this is basically some tools given to the programmer to keep the program safe. Because when the static was developed, at that time this object-oriented programming and this other programming has not developed. So they want to, the main programmer want that particular variable should not be declared in outside another, because any program is not developed by one programmer. It can't be 5, 6, 10 programmers. So that is the particular programmer wants this static variable, global variable name, so that that variable name should be used in that file only, not to be outside. And static always initializes variable to 0. So that restriction might be held for the program. That is the reason of static. Otherwise, if the global variable has to be mentioned, then in another file you have to declare extern keyboard. That I have told you, extern. But here, static variable only inside. Then whenever the static variable is given within a function, the meaning totally changes. Whenever you put the static variable within a function, the scope is within the function, but after, because every variable in a function, if you do not speak it up, it will be always created in stack, except global variables. Except global variables. So they are always created a stack. When the function returns from that function, the whole variable contents will be finished. So if you want particular variables to be stayed there, so you should keep that variable static declaration within a function. Are you getting it? So every time, whenever the function re-enters, that particular value will be there. It is very helpful for say Fibonacci number calculation and all other case. Whenever you want that earlier value should be there, a factorial value calculation, you want that particular variable should be there within a function, but its scope is local, but it keeps its values. That is static variable in local concept. And then static function. If you put static in front of a function, that means that function is visible within the file itself, not to be outside the file. So in general, a C program can consist of 1, 2, 3 files, and that function can be called from other files also. You have to declare the header, that the function signature. What is the function signature? Function signature is nothing but the function, first line of the function with a semicolon. That is the function signature. If you wish to use that function in other files, you have to just include the, no, you can include header file also. Yes, that header file has to be included there. That is another way. And if you put static in a main function or file, that function cannot be called. So that static is a tool, and basically it basically gives some limited scope, and that will be advantageous for, because if you give all power to all programmers, the programs can go wrong and very difficult. If it's a Windows program, which is written by maybe 10,000 programmers for 10 years. So there are always some bugs are there. So how to control the bugs? You need this kind of utility, but the main programmer architect who will decide which variable should be static, global or not. So static function not to be seen outside file. Any question about static? So the static means it different to context. Static function means different. Static local variable is different. Static global variable is different. So that it depends on the context. It varies. Now we come to the file operation. It is whenever you see file, definition is given in input standard 8. The definition is there. That is a see. Whenever you see star, that is a pointer. Whenever this is a pointer, and you can make it any name. FP1, FP2. If you have two files, FP1, FP2, and if you have a file pointer, this file pointer is now f open this file. If this file is not there, it will return some -1 or error. But if the file is there, then it is while one. With bad coding, I should write. If it is a Python, I can write while true like this. Okay, because it is not a Python. I say while one. One is always true. So character 8 bits in the file pointer. I am reading one at a time. If EOF is there, EOF is \0. Always 0. Yeah. Then it is break, and otherwise it printed. And you always remember f closely. That is, if you do not do this, your program might hang and all these things. This file, anything you have created a file by Notepad and you call it, and then it will print out. So the mode is only read mode. There are several modes. So summary, what today I have discussed, that is C is very rich language, but try to learn C++ LMD. That is still one of the best language, and it is the fastest language. It is fastest language, and there is a lot of demand in C++. That is one thing. Yes, any question? Yeah.
Sir, can it only open C type of file or any other?
It is in any file. There is no C type of file. It can open. See, I have C here.
MP3 file also, yeah.
Dot C, anything. Dot text.
Excel file.
Yeah, that can be done. So that you have to see. Probably right now our limitation is text file, ASCII file,
MP3 file,
and the binary file. Okay. Excel file, it can open it up as a raw mode. So that then it will be, you cannot read that file. You can try it. So generally it can open .text file, .exe file, binary file, binary file. It can open as a binary file. So you just try this. This is a good experiment. You can try it. Yeah. Any question?
So what will be the type of address stored?
Yeah. Record these questions. Yeah. Yeah. What's your question?
So what will be the type of address stored in the pointer variable?
Yeah, it is pointer and address store is always integer, because computer has a memory. You know the memory is 8 GB or 16 GB, and lower 1 GB will be taken up by the operating system always, and the others, say if it is this is the memory. So say this is a memory, and this is a say CPU, and this portion will be always from say the lowest location and the highest location on the hexadecimal address. Say it depends on it, and this lowest location will be always OS operating unit. Then you will be for every program. Say your Word is taking one window, your programming, your another program. Say if you are running Microsoft Visual C++, Microsoft C++, it is another window. Anyway, this is your scope, and here it will be your a.out file, which is executing. Right now we are executing. This is a a.out file, and then your global values, global static variable will be there, and then this portion is called stack, and this portion is called heap. I'll come next day. I'll discuss the heap memory allocation. Heap memory that here stack. So if you want to get rid of a stack variable, then you have to put the variable static, like static local. Then it will be created here. But remember, your program size will be bigger, because when the program created in stack, it come and go. But whenever your any static variable will be take the space here, and this a.out is always read-only mode. So coming back to your question, that pointer will be always the output will be integer number. It is generally expressed in hexadecimal numbers. Yeah. Yes.
In case of string, we also have to redefine the size of the string, like character, then bracket. We have to redefine the size of the string.
Yeah.
So while we are storing the file in a string variable,
yeah,
how do we identify what would be the size of the file?
Yeah.
Fine. Good question. First of all, C has a particular limitation in array, that array has to be fixed size. Okay. But at the file, that restriction is not there. So because the file is basically, it is nothing but it's a concatenation of a characters. Last line should be UF character. UF is another character, like this character, it is character. So I will not find you do not have any problem in storing them. But in your program, reading is also, reading you have a sufficient buffer.
Yeah.
Then you have to have a sufficient buffer. If the buffer is full, your program should take another buffer. Yes.
That's what I am talking about.
Yeah.
In case of reading, suppose we have to store a part of the string.
Yeah.
We are trying to store a.
So that is always the C program's problem. That is one of the weakest thing of C program. That is, it is the array is not dynamic. Array is static. So that is the main problem with the C. In C++ that can be handled. In C++ that is handled, but in C that is a problem. That is the reason C++ is very powerful, because all the lacunas are taken care of in C.
In C and Java we can like.
Java, the problems is there. Java and Python, they are slower, much slower. But whenever you are expert in C++ program, then always be a chance for all the libraries are written in Java, Python are all written in C++. So, but you have to be expert in C++. So then, but expert in C doesn't have any value. But expert in C, you have to learn other, but you should take the concept of C++, object-oriented programming and other things.
Oops. Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay, oops, I'll mention maybe if you require another class, say a little bit dabble into the C++. Any question, any question you can put up from earlier classes or future classes. But you should always practice and
Sir,
practice. Yes.
What will happen if you don't do that F close?
Yeah, that is a good question. Say, if you do not happen get close, you first you get a warning from your compiler. That is one. And probably have you got it a segmentation fault? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Segmentation fault is very big. So segmentation fault you might experience. That is in a turbo C you will not get. Segmentation fault you have to take care of everything. So it is better to always practice even the indentation like Python, so that there is not a. But if I go to your text, if you do not make indentation, you cannot check it. So always take this, and all the variables whenever you take it, you initialize it. So whenever you go for the static variable, you should always initialize 0. It is better whenever you declare a variable, you initialize it 0, because sometimes you compare the variable in a if loop, that gives a problem. Okay, I will discuss. Thank you for listening. Any more question? Thank you.